Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1671B, and today's date is September 23rd, 2018, and the title of the episode is Conspiracy No Longer a Conspiracy, Patriots in Control, Unite. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I uploaded a new interview with Dr. Dave Janda. It is on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. So all you need to do is go over to YouTube, type in X22 Report Spotlight, and it will bring you right to that interview. Or you can go to x22report.com or newsentinel.com, scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side, you'll see the interview there. You can play it right on the site, or go to Steemit, that is steemit.com/@X22Report, and you can play the interview right on Steemit. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they are panicking like we've never seen before, and it looks like they're starting to turn on each other, and the conspiracies that were floating around, well, it looks like they're no longer conspiracies. It looks like the truth is coming out, and all this talk about conspiracy theory and all these things, well, soon that is all going to disappear. We're going to be getting to that in just a minute. But let's start off with Kavanaugh and Kavanaugh's accuser and this third witness. Now, Ford, she's supposed to testify on Thursday now, and we'll see if that actually happens. So far, Christine Ford, the California professor who has accused the Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of groping her 37 years ago, has been less than forthcoming with anything that approaches a verifiable detail of her experience, because she doesn't know what year it happened. She doesn't know what month it happened. She doesn't know where the house was or whose parents it belonged to. She doesn't know how she got home. I mean, those are huge gaping holes right now. One bit of information she has provided, oddly enough, are the names of the other three teens in the house at the time. Now, two of them are male, Mark Judge and Patrick Smith, and have provided letters via their attorneys to the Senate Judiciary Committee denying any knowledge of any part such as the one Ford describes. There is a third witness, the young woman that accompanied her to the alleged party. Now, the committee has reached out to longtime friend of Ford named Leland Ingham Kaiser, and Miss Kaiser does not know Mr. Kavanaugh, and she has no recollection of ever being at a party or gathering where he was present. So, Kaiser is the latest person alleged to be at the party to say she has no recollection of it whatsoever. So now we have three witnesses, plus Brett Kavanaugh, agree that this party never happened, much less the incident, and all have done so under penalty of prosecution for providing a false statement to Congress. This means the only person not on the record is Christine Ford, and we'll have to see what happens on Thursday. Out in Libya, we see the UN-backed government of National Accord, the GNA. Remember, this government was placed in there by the UN. It was not an elected government. The people didn't come out and place their votes and say, yes, this is the government we want. The UN, with the US, back then the deep state, said this is the government you will accept. So the UN-backed government right now, they're in trouble. They're calling to the UN to take concrete and effective action to protect them. Now, of course, they're saying we need the UN to come here to protect the civilians. What they're really saying is our government is under threat. We need help here. If we don't get help, this whole UN-backed government of National Accord is going to completely disappear, because what's happening is the people of Libya, in all these different factions, they are fighting fiercely in Libya, and it's only a matter of time before this fake government is overrun. And that is what is happening out in Libya. We see that Russia, they came out and said, well, we did an investigation, and Israel is to blame for the downing of the reconnaissance plane on Monday. Now, according to the Russian Minister of Defense, the Israeli Air Force used the Russian reconnaissance plane for cover against the S-200 anti-aircraft missile off the coast of Latakia. And they have shared detailed information about the crash, and they're going to give a minute-by-minute account of this incident that was made based on the objective radar readings, including those from the Plateau Air Information Display System. Now, Israel is out there, they're denying all of this, and they're saying this is not true, but Russia is coming out saying, yes, we do have the radar information and we can see exactly what happened. We see Russia and the U.S., they have negotiated to evacuate civilians from the al-Rukban camp near al-tanf. Now, we know that the U.S., the deep state, set up a base in al-tanf, and we know that the terrorists are there. Well, they're supposedly leaving, moving up to Idlib area, and we can see that the U.S., they decided to make a deal with Russia to get rid of the Rukban problem through evacuating the refugees to territories controlled by the government of Syria. The details of a possible operation have not been discussed so far, and they're working very closely together to solve this problem. And I think what they're doing right now is they're setting it up so there's no reason to keep this deep state base in al-tanf anymore, and moving the terrorists out, moving the civilians out, and eventually this whole thing can be removed one way or another. And we know that Russia and Syria, they're pushing their demilitarization, and Turkey, demilitarization zones in Idlib, giving the terrorists a chance to separate peacefully, remove their heavy weapons. But it looks like Al-Qaeda, they're saying, we're not going to agree to this. And I think eventually what's going to happen is Russia and Syria, they're going to be going in there by force, and they're just going to remove them. Now, of course, they tried to use diplomacy, tried to save a lot of lives here, a lot of infrastructure, but the terrorists, they don't play fairly. They are terrorists. They're the paid mercenary army of the deep state, and they're trying to hold on to whatever they have because they know once they are captured, once they are put into prison, it is game over for all of them. And I think Russia and Syria right now are giving them opportunities to leave peacefully so this doesn't have to go down in a horrific way. Let's move on to Q's post. Q put up post 2254, and Anon put up, yep, Rod Rosenstein tried twice to see POTUS, and both times POTUS refused. Now, we know why the sorry SOB trying to set up POTUS for a sting. Now, this was the same picture that we saw before, where Trump came out saying the Supreme Court is the one of the main reasons I got elected the president. I hope Republican voters and others are watching and studying the Democrats' playbook. And under this, Q put, think playbook, think New York Times article, think Rod Rosenstein, and he is in all caps, bold, and kill brackets, meetings push, panic clockwork. So they're all panicking, and they're trying to make POTUS fire Rosenstein, but POTUS is not going to fire Rosenstein. They're trying to trigger the red line, and they're going to need another new playbook because this is not working at all. So the swamp, their agenda right now is to remove POTUS before the declassify. That's what they're trying to do, and it looks like it is not working at all. 2255. Q puts up a Twitter link and then says, Patriot, reminder, prior to each rally, threats are called into local and federal authorities. REQAnon, panic. So this individual tweeted saying, I was wearing my Q shirt and the USSS won't let me in to the Trump rally with my Q shirt on. Now, what's happening here is the deep state, they are pushing their agenda. And what is their agenda? Well, they know the Q movement is growing rapidly. So they call in threats. Then anyone wearing a Q shirt is not allowed into the rallies, which limits the amount of people showing that they're supporting Q. So basically, if you're going to get into the rally, don't wear your Q shirt, put it on later. Now, they might find it in your bag, they might do something like that, but you can see they're trying to do whatever they possibly can to keep Q supporters out and make it look like this is not really a big movement at all. Post 2256, Q put up two links, one to New York Times. This is Rod Rosenstein is wearing a wire and trying to record Trump and use the 25th Amendment. We also have Fox News. Omarosa plans another tape release next week. And it says 1 = 1, the more you know, Q. So think about this for a second. The New York Times article is coming out, and it's saying that Rod Rosenstein wanted to wear a wire and record Trump. Omarosa was illegally recording Trump in all different areas, and now is putting it out there. 1=1, and it looks like Omarosa might have been conspiring with Rosenstein to record POTUS. Let's move on to 2257. Q put up a link from Bloomberg. Rosenstein is said to have suggested he record Trump secretly. And it says Schumer's warning. Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer quickly warned Trump against seizing on the report as a reason to dismiss Rosenstein. Now, this is what they want him to do. They're trying to use a reverse tactic saying, you better not fire him, you better not get rid of him, but we know POTUS is not going to do this. This story must not be used as a pretext for the corrupt purpose of firing Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein in order to install an official who will allow the president to interfere with the special counsel's investigation. Schumer said in a statement, he added that many White House and cabinet officials have been reported to say critical things of the president without being fired. The red line, like clockwork. This is their playbook. This is their strategy. And Schumer is out there pushing this agenda. And it's not going to work. Post 2258. Q says panic in D.C. Rod Rosenstein called Loretta Lynch 4 times in the past 11 days. Now remember, we talked about this in the last report, where Trump decided to say, okay, I need to have the Department of Justice look at the declassification. Now, this does not mean that he's not going to do it. He's using this as leverage because he said he's going to declassify. He wants the Department of Justice to look at this, Rod Rosenstein. Now, Rod Rosenstein has to make a decision of what he's going to do. The deep state now is panicking. So now they're calling each other. What should we do? They might even be turning on each other, which Q does confirm later on in these posts. So what is happening right now? Well, by doing this, the deep state is panicking. They're making mistakes. And what are the Patriots doing? They're recording all this information. They're finding out more information and watching them scurry like rats. 2259. Panic in D.C. Loretta Lynch recorded calls with Rod Rosenstein. Loretta Lynch talking. Q. Now, Loretta Lynch is now working for the Patriots, and she is recording the calls. Remember post 2022. Q says panic in D.C. Lynch talking. Lynch has flipped, and Q does confirm this in the next post. So now Lynch is recording the calls of Rod Rosenstein. And in post 2260, this is what Q says. Panic in D.C. Loretta Lynch is talking. Truth reveal tarmac Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton in the kill brackets, bold, all caps. Loretta Lynch talking equals truth reveal Comey Clinton email case. Loretta Lynch talking equals truth reveal Obama instructions R.E. Clinton email case. Loretta Lynch talking equals truth reveal Brennan no-name coordination to frame the president. And then put a couple of dots and says FISA equals start. This is the beginning phase. Remember, FISA is just the first carpet bomb. FISA brings down the House. What house are they bringing down? The deep state house. It's falling apart. When do birds sing? Q. So the conspiracy is no longer a conspiracy. Loretta Lynch confirms everything by singing like a bird about the emails, the tarmac meeting, Obama, Brennan, McCain. All of this to protect Clinton, to frame POTUS, and we can see that she is singing like a bird right now. And remember, FISA is just phase 1. This will allow the Patriots to gather much, much more information on the deep state as they all continue to panic. Now, Q went on to post 2261 and says, music is about to stop. Gave a phone number, 202-456-1414. By the way, that is the phone number for the White House. Now, what is music is about to stop? Remember when you were kids and you were playing musical chairs and everyone walks around the chairs and the music is playing, and then the music stops and everyone has to take a seat. And usually there's not enough chairs, so one person is out. And then all of a sudden they take away a chair and the music starts again. And then the music stops and everyone has to sit, but always one person is out because there's not enough chairs. And this continually happens over and over and over. This is what's happening right now. The music is about to stop. There's not going to be enough chairs for everyone. So Q is saying, here's the phone number to the White House. If you would like to talk, talk, because you're running out of chairs. You're running out of opportunities. And soon, when the music stops completely, it is game over. Post 2262. Q says, fake news about to shift narrative against their masters in an effort to weather the storm. Panic everywhere. Patriots are ready. Enjoy the rally at the Q tonight. Q. So the mainstream media, they're getting very nervous. Remember, they've been controlled by the deep state. They're masters. And they've been fed all these lies. And they just went with it. They didn't do any investigation. They received a huge amount of money to keep their operation, in the black. And they just went with it. Now, they can see that things are starting to fall apart. And what Q is saying is that the fake news, they're going to flip on their masters because the storm is here. How are they going to weather the storm? How are they going to explain all this when the FISA is declassified? When all these people start talking and all their news stories turn out to be fake news? They're going to have to do something because guess what? The American public, their trustworthy gauge is going to go down to absolutely no trust whatsoever because they've been fed, the American people, fake news all this time. And we're going to get a little bit more into this a little bit later. Post 2263. Q puts up post 2155. Panic in D.C. Comey in communication with McCabe. RE testimony story. Comey and McCabe talking. Next comes New York Times article against Rod Rosenstein. Panic. Alliances forming. These people are stupid. So it looks like Comey and McCabe, they're teaming up and they're coordinating their testimony stories, talking to each other to pin all of this on Rosenstein and Lynch. And we can see they're all taking sides right now. 2264. And Anon put up the same thing, 2155 in this graphic. Comey and McCabe talking. Next comes New York Times article against Rod Rosenstein. Panic, alliances forming. These people are stupid. And under this whole graphic, the Anon put, ha 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 ha, no honor among thieves. Q put, in kill brackets, bold, McCabe, leak memos to New York Times. R.E. Rod Rosenstein, sound familiar? Think Comey memos. So this is the plan of McCabe and Comey. Leak the messages, set up Rod Rosenstein. Everyone is turning on each other. Music is about to stop. Call the White House before it's too late. Post 2265. And Anon put up a meme. Remain calm. Has Trump with a gun. Patriots are in control. Under it, it says, what a show. And below that, it says, you are watching the systematic destruction of the old guard. Power will return to the people. Q. And that's absolutely right. Because we can see that these people, they are turning on each other. They're flipping right now. They're making a lot of mistakes. They are in big, big trouble. Now, Gowdy was out there, and he's saying that Brennan is afraid of the release of the unredacted classified documents on the Russia investigation. And Gowdy is saying that there is no national security risk in classified Russia docs. Basically, the Department of Justice is stonewalling over Brennan, FBI embarrassment. Gowdy said in a Thursday interview that the information contained in the Russia documents withheld by the Department of Justice pose no risk to national security and would be embarrassing to former CIA Director John Brennan, the Department of Justice, and the FBI. He said, I've read it. Some of it's embarrassing for the Department of Justice. Some of it's embarrassing for the FBI. A lot of it should be embarrassing to John Brennan. And maybe therein lies why he is so adamant that this information not be released. I don't think it's going to change anyone's mind, but I've seen nothing in it that is going to jeopardize the national security interests of this country, Gowdy said. Other than one document related to George Papadopoulos, I don't think people are going to be interested in that. I don't think any minds are going to be changed. So Brennan is freaking out right now. And we can see already the New York Times, they are starting to flip a little bit. Just like Q has said, they're shifting their fake news narrative and flipping on their masters. So this week, the New York Times published an epic 10,000-word piece entitled "The Plot to Subvert an Election, Unraveling the Russian Story So Far." It's essentially the Times summary of everything that can be definitely established thus far after 2 years of national obsession and inquiry into alleged Russian election meddling and influence that supposedly ushered Trump into the White House in 2016. The massive investigative piece has the following lead at the top. For 2 years, Americans have tried to absorb the details of the 2016 attack, hacked emails, social media fraud, suspected spies, and President Trump's claims that it's all a hoax. Buried among the nearly 200 paragraphs of seemingly endless intelligence claims, wherein the reader will be disappointed to find no smoking gun detailing any actual conspiracy of meddling and collusion, we find 2 specific paragraphs which are contradictory, are incredibly revealing about the nature of the whole Russiagate scandal. First, in paragraph 5, we are told by the Times journalist, President Trump's Twitter outbursts that it is all a hoax and a witch hunt, in the face of mountain evidence to the contrary, have taken a toll on the public comprehension. So, after 178 paragraphs featuring repetition of unproven intelligence claims, spin around few facts, lots of innuendo, the same authors finally admit that Trump is actually right. Near the end of all of this, it says he is right that no public evidence has emerged showing that his campaign conspired with Russia in the election interference or accepted Russian money. So, in an astounding contradiction with a single New York Times article, the mountain of evidence at the opening becomes Trump is right that no public evidence has emerged by the story's closing. And here we see it. The fake media is trying to cover their own butts. Post 2266, it says /BO/ that's board owner, thank you for your service. People are scattered since Reddit termination. What about starting a trusted vote board under your direction? If you build it, they will come. Q. So the 8chan board owner accepts the request from Q. And post 2267, it says, and Anon put up, thank you, Q. I am honored. I'll get to work right away. I will update on my progress soon. Q put, thank you, board owner. We stand ready to support. Post 2268 put up a link to vote.co/v/QRV. Thank you, board owner. Fully endorsed. Time to unite. So basically, there's a new vote subverse announced and endorsed by Q. Because since Reddit shut down, everything was, up in the air. Everyone was fighting with each other. And basically, post 2269 says everything that we just read, and it says, good home for EX, the Great Awakening Redditors. In the coming weeks, it will be important to have one central location, non-8chan, Q. But Q is going to remain on 8chan and will not participate on Vote. The Vote board is for all the Anons to talk with each other, which is endorsed by Q. So basically, in post 2270, that's what Q says. 2271, the official vote replacement for Reddit is live now. And it just put up a lot of links about vote/v/QRV, Reddit replacement. And to see the board, when you click on this link and you have an account on Vote, you need to go up to the little settings icon on the top right hand. If you don't have an account, I don't think you can do this. You have to go to the little icon on the top. It will open up your preferences. Look down where it says the following. Enable adult NSFW content. You need to have this checked to see the board. If you don't, It will just bring you to the front page of Vote. Post 2272. Q put up, D-class of FISA equals Rod Rosenstein self-incrimination. Rod Rosenstein in charge of D-class. Remember, Trump handed this off to the Department of Justice. Due to massive conflict of interest, IG Horowitz was tasked to final review, speed it up. He handed it off to Horowitz to make sure that everything is in line and it's not violating anything. Probably going to go with the executive order, checking it all out. Q continued in bold, all caps, brackets. Prevent left endanger sources and methods plus Mueller interference narrative. It will all come out. POTUS will not be baited to fire when the release itself will force resignation, termination of Rod Rosenstein. UK, Australia, others must learn the true definition of ally. Rod Rosenstein prevented force from signing new FISAs. All signers are currently under JG investigation, grand jury investigation. McCabe memos, New York Times, Rod Rosenstein article prove the rats are panicking. 2018 will be glorious. Prepare for sky is falling week. Q. So the deep state, they're going to go all out and say everything is falling apart. The sky's falling. I can't believe this is happening. And we're going to see a lot more of these individuals flip, turn on each other. And what the Patriots are going to do, they're just going to gather all this information. The people are taking control. The Patriots are in control. The people are uniting against the deep state. And now they're scurrying, panicking like rats in the dark, and the light is shining on them. They don't know what to do. They are truly in a panic. The mainstream media is truly in a panic. Everything that they've set up over the many, many years is all falling apart. Their corruption is being exposed. Their criminal activity is being exposed. And there's nothing they can do at this time. Because the truth is the truth. They can't fight the truth. When the documents are declassified and all the information is out, that will be the first carpet bomb. And they know more is on its way. This is just to get the public used to what they've done. Remember, they need to introduce this information to get the public on the same page. Then you can bring in the uranium one. Then you can bring in the email. Then you can bring in all the other corruption scandals that they've done over the past. And they know that once this is let out, it's game over. They're done. So what we're most likely going to see is either people on the run, maybe suicides, and maybe an event to try to cover all of this up. And we're going to have to see how this all plays out. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.